Cru friends and family. Welcome to the Nebraska Cru Vision event. My name is Polly Lachaw, and I am on part-time field staff with Cru, and I help coach Midland University's Cru movement. And I'm also a UNL alum. Just want to invite you guys to take a moment and chat in the comments or chat box and tell us where you're joining us from. We'd love to welcome you guys, whether it's from across our state or other states or across the world. Just welcome. We're glad you're here. For those of you who have been partners with us in the past, thank you. For those of you who are new to Cru, thank you for your interest. Thank you for being here today and joining us for this vision event. Now, during this time, we want to share about what God has done, what God is doing, and what God will continue to do. So obviously, we wish we could be in person with you. I wish I could look you all in the eyes instead of stare at a screen right now, but that's not the reality. We are thankful for technology that lets us do this still. So right now I'm going to kick it to a video that you guys can watch and learn about what God has been doing throughout the state of Nebraska this past year and how your money has been invested. Man, that was so sweet to watch that video. I know from my experience personally at Midland University this past year, Cru has been a brand new movement. And so it's been really awesome to see 4 student leaders owning Cru's vision and starting to lead their own small groups and passionate about reaching their campus with the gospel. And now we're also starting to see these leaders multiply themselves and the number of leaders and the number of small groups double next year. And with that, we're able to continue to resource these leaders with different tools that they need to lead these small groups well. So thank you for your investment. Now I'm actually going to turn it over to Davey, who's going to share about more specific ways that your money has been invested this past year in different students and different campuses.
Thank you all. It's great to be here with you. I want to say thank you for the ways you gave last year. So grateful for your generosity, because through that we were able to purchase things which helped us encounter students who didn't know Jesus before were introduced to him and then transferred from death to life as they put their faith in him. Students who were already Christian but didn't know how to live that out missionally or what that meant to follow him fully. We got to disciple them and train them and equip them to have evangelistic conversations with their peers, their classmates, their coworkers, and their teammates in various capacities. That's what we get to see happen. Students like our leaders who are graduating in a couple weeks even and are going to live the rest of their life with a win, build, send mindset where they're going to reach out to their neighbors, their children, and eventually every tribe, tongue, language, and nation. That's what happens when you give. And so we're so thankful for that. Now, we did purchase things with the money in order to get us there. Things like this leader toolkit that has resources for evangelism, discipleship, Bible studies, that allows students to take these things and to reach out to their friends. Things like the Perspectives banner, which you see right behind me here, which is one of a set that allows us to go on campus and do an outreach where students talk to us about their worldview. Things like our campus outreach kits, which is a library of resources that any student involved in the movement can come and check out so they can have evangelism resources and Bible study tools. And there was our fall retreat, which normally is all the state together, but because of COVID, we couldn't do that. We were able to do retreats at each campus individually, though, and that you helped fund. And we had tricky restrictions with a dinner, but we were able to do Global Vision dinners as well, where we videoed in missionaries from other countries who got to share with our students about what's going on in those places and invite them to take part. And then there's, of course, all the operational things that come with leading movements, like traveling there, buying food for the students, the weekly meeting, room reservation, band equipment, and those things. And so thank you for helping us purchase those things. All of this is meant to move us towards our vision, spiritual movements everywhere, so that everyone knows someone who truly follows Jesus. We're thankful that you're a part of that story.
Thank you, Davey, for sharing. And now it's time to hear more from Caleb White, who gets to share about why we are so passionate about investing in college students.
Thanks, Davey, for sharing. My name is Caleb White. I serve on staff with the Lincoln team here in Nebraska, and it was so great to hear a little bit about how we've been using the funds that you guys have given faithfully in years past to continue to move our mission forward. But I want to share a little bit about why we invest so much in college students. And it is no doubt that we have all seen very clearly what this virus has done. We've watched this virus, which has started with a single person somewhere in the world and has spread to where there's not a single nation out there that has been untouched. And I think when I think of this virus, as much as I'm kind of tired of talking about it, I can't help but think of the way the gospel has moved throughout history too, where it's faithful people one by one taking the gospel forward until all here. We have this goal through the Great Commission that Jesus has given us, that all people, all tribes, tongues, and nations would hear the message of Jesus. Sometimes we'll say it in a way that so everybody has an opportunity to put their faith in Jesus. And the thing that motivates me a lot of why I serve with Cru towards college students is because at a remarkable rate, God has used students throughout history to bring about massive revival, to bring about the gospel's advance throughout the world. And I think of, in history, John and Charles Wesley, later accompanied by George Whitefield, and when they were at Oxford University, they became the lightning rods of the Great Awakening. I think of Evan Roberts, who at Newcastle, Emlyn College, he became in around 1900, the early 1900s. He, as a student, began praying for revival, and God worked through him to create the global awakening, where we saw about 20 million people come to faith in Jesus. I think of the Harvard and Yale and Princeton revivals. I think of C.S. Lewis when he was a student and he met friends, one of them being J.R.R. Tolkien, who were the ones who eventually led him to Christ. I think of Martin Luther. He was professor of theology at the University of Wittenberg, who He was the professor there when he nailed his 95 thesis. I think of Samuel Mills and C.T. Studd and Robert Wilder and John Mott and Jim Elliot and hundreds of more who share the same quality, is that they were students when God raised them up to play incredible roles in God's kingdom. Now, why college students? Is it some strategy that we came up with? No, really, the idea of reaching college students and starting there to build laborers and multipliers who'll take the gospel to the world, it's not our strategy. It's not a man-made idea. It's really just simply an observation of how God has consistently moved. Now, that's not the only way he moves, for sure, but we've seen the remarkable ways that God uses students and young people. And I'm even reminded of the disciples, how he trusts the next generation to take the gospel forward. And as I think about students in college, I look around and I see the nations in their dorms. Students live in places where the world's mission field is literally next door to them. They have the opportunity to take the gospel during their 4 years, 5, 6, depends on the student, 2 if you leave early. And they have the opportunity to go next door and take the gospel to somebody from another country who then one day will go back home and even share the gospel there. The opportunity to reach unreached people groups is right here in our backyards. We think that this generation, Gen Z we might call them, or the students who are currently on our campuses, we think that they stand at a really unique place in history in that they are looking at the opportunity to be the ones who carry the baton of the Great Commission, generations and generations taking the great news of Jesus to the world. They stand at an opportunity where they have a legitimate chance to be the ones who cross the finish line. Sometimes we like to call this generation the finishers. Now, we don't know if it'll happen, but we know that they stand, the way we look at it, at a legitimate shot to do it, and we are more than excited. Now, this doesn't mean that things are easy. In this generation, we've seen lots of struggles. We see the mental health crisis. We see political and racial strife and tension. We see COVID and the isolation that comes from that. They walk through all kinds of challenges. But what we see is the potential for God to use that. And what we want to do is we want to equip them and build them in their faith so that in college and beyond for the rest of their lives, they walk deeply with Jesus, that they experience him, his love and forgiveness every day in their lives, and that would transform their lives to cast them out into the world and their communities and their churches. We want to equip them in their faith so that they know how to address and handle these different challenges that they face in their lives. And we want them to have the skills necessary to know how to take the gospel across different contexts. We know that not all of our students are going to become world missionaries, that they'll go to some foreign country and take the gospel there, but some will. But many, many others will go into their jobs, go into the workforce, and they're going to send missionaries, and they're going to be missionaries in their local contexts as well. And so we think that this generation stands at a unique point, and generations have come and gone, the Wesleys, the Evans, the Mills, on and on. Those generations have come and gone, and this generation here, this is their time to take the gospel forward. And so we hope to be able to join you in that mission, to take the gospel forward so that all have an opportunity to hear. Now, let's hear from some Cru alumni about how their lives are different because of their time in Cru.
Hello, my name is Dusty Hansen, and I went to the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, and graduated in 2007. Currently, I'm a fifth grade teacher here in sunny Arizona. I wanted to take the time and thank Cru just for the impact Bible studies have had. It was a Bible study that originally introduced me to Cru. It was leading a Bible study that allowed me to enjoy some lifelong friendships, such as James Prush or Kent Pierce. And it is a Bible study now that I attend every Tuesday night just because of the impact Cru had on me. And I wanted to end with a quick little verse. Deuteronomy 8:3 says, "Man does not live on bread alone, but man lives on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord." And that's just kind of has been a message that I live right now just because of the impact Cru had. So Cru, thank you just for the importance of Bible studies, and I will continue the tradition.
Hi, Jen Jacobitz. I graduated from the University of Nebraska Lincoln in 2004, and I am now a part-time labor nurse and a mom of four. What I learned from Cru was watching Kent and Leanne Pierce lead Bible studies with their kids at their side. It's been something I do with my own kids where they kind of feel like home Bible study is just part of life, and also overcoming fear of sharing the gospel on city campus led to African missions trips, which grew into speaking freely with my labor patients about the God's handiwork within the labor process, and being able to boldly pray over my Somalian Muslim mom about her sick baby.
Hi, Cru supporters. This is Dana Jones in Des Moines, Iowa. I'm a graduate of the University of Nebraska Lincoln, class of 2008. Currently, I work as a risk management bank examiner with the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. I got involved with Cru as a freshman in college, and it transformed my life. I came to know Christ through Cru, and it continues to impact who I am. After college, I've been able to serve as a deacon with my church, and currently my wife and I lead a young marriages Bible study. Thank you for your support.
Hello, my name is Lauren Kish, and I graduated from the University of Nebraska Lincoln in 2003. And I am also on staff with Cru now, having served over in Rome, Italy, and now am in San Diego working with Americans and with international students. So I came to Christ after my freshman year and got plugged in right away to Cru, and I'm so thankful for my involvement in all the years there at UNL. I grew so much in my love for the Word and also just in my skills in sharing the gospel in a very relational way. I remember this one afternoon we spent doing an evangelism training at Kent and Leanne Pierce's house, and after the training was over, they're like, okay, we're going to go put this into practice and go to the mall and practice having spiritual conversations with people we meet. I mean, I was so terrified, but I went anyways, and that was the beginning of my love for sharing the gospel with people. And I've been doing so these past 20 years, not only in my personal life, but also with the students to whom I minister. So I'm so grateful for my time in Cru and all the staff that poured into my life.
So great to hear from different Cru alum across the state of Nebraska and how God used their time in college to then shape the rest of their lives. And I know from my own experience as a UNL alum and from my time with Cru, that is where I became captivated with this vision that everybody would know somebody who truly follows Jesus. And that's also where I became equipped to engage with the mission of winning, building, and sending disciples of Jesus into the rest of the world. And clearly that's influenced my time post-college now as I work at Midland University and seek to coach students to continue to carry on this vision and this mission that Cru has. And that's really founded in the Bible. So now we're going to transition again to Davey, who's going to share more about where we hope to go in the coming year and how you can be a part of that.
Thank you, Polly, and thank you for that story because my life was changed because of Cru in college as well. And thank you, Caleb, man, hearing those stories of those people who started those revivals. That kind of stuff is what got me excited in college when I heard those things as a sophomore, saying, I want to be a part of what God's doing to revive the world. And so thank you guys for sharing those things. God has obviously been moving, and we trust that he will continue to do so no matter the obstacles, whether it be a pandemic, whether it's postmodern Christianity, postmodern society, or if it's just the Friday night party, luring students to get into some trouble. We know that God will continue to move. We care about each student on every Nebraska campus, encountering him, being connected to the overflowing living water that is found in Jesus Christ. Students like Aiden at Midland, where Polly works, who came to faith and is continuing to grow and figure out what that means for him. Students like Sydney at Doane, who came to faith at Winter Conference, a year ago and is continuing to figure out what that means in her life and growing closer to Jesus. Students like Jackson at Wayne, who spent weeks meeting up with this student named William until eventually William decided to place his faith in Jesus. And then Jackson got other students together to throw a party for him, presented him a Bible, and that's what I snapped a picture of that event right here that you're seeing on screen. These kind of moments are what we live for. This is why we do what we do. We want you to hear from current students directly, so we've asked a few of them to record some videos so you can hear about what God's been doing in their lives. So take a look at these.
Hey guys, my name's Bailey Lambertus. I am a junior at the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. Man, this year was really tough with COVID, but God had really shown up. We decided to reach out to just incoming freshmen on Instagram since there were very limited ways to on campus. And by God's grace, we have 6 consistent women showing up to Bible study every week. Just by connecting with them through Instagram and outreach. This is just such an eye-opening experience to see God work through social media through this season. It's been so great to see these ladies just grow in their faith and knowledge of the Word. And we've not only got to lead them, but have really learned from them. This group is not simply just a Bible study, but is just a group filled with encouragement, accountability, and deepening relationships as we all continue to pursue Christ in fellowship. So, we've had 2 ladies in our group faithfully decide to bring sin into the light for the first time and eventually got to share their testimonies as well. Praise God for that. That's such huge growth, and we've just seen that amazing growth this year as we've become a safe and trusted community where we can confess those sins to one another and just pray for one another to faithfully fight against those. So I didn't know what to expect coming into a season of unknown through COVID, but God really showed up and moved, and students' lives are changing. Thank you guys for being a part of that.
Hi, my name's Jake. I'm from the University of Nebraska Lincoln Cru. So God's been doing a lot of great things in my life recently. He's been calling me to go out and spread his word a lot more, and he's just been transforming me because I've seen him move so many mountains and do such great things in my life that I'm so grateful for. I want to try to make sure that everyone around me just realizes the same things, that God is so great and so active in our lives. So I've been trying to learn how to evangelize a bit more. So I met with one of the Cru staff members, James, and we talked about evangelizing. But James told me one of the biggest parts of evangelizing isn't the talking part, it's actually the listening part. That's how we get to really connect with the person and then get to offer the gospel to them. So I actually got to put this into play 2 days after my talk with James, with my friend Ryan. So my friend Ryan, it was one of my buddy's birthdays, and my friend Ryan is roommates with them. So we were all getting together one day to go out to dinner to celebrate my friend's birthday. When I noticed there was something different about Ryan, he just seemed a lot more stressed, quieter, easier to snap, just not himself at all. And I just walked up to him and I was like, "Hey Ryan, what's wrong, buddy? What's wrong?" He said it's a really long conversation and he doesn't really want to talk about it. So I said, "Okay, if you ever do want to talk, I could be a great listener for you. And you could just tell me everything that you want to, and anything that you're not comfortable with, you don't have to say." He was like, "Okay, I might take you up sometime on that." So we went out to dinner, had a great time, came back, and Ryan came up to me and said, "Okay, I want to talk." So I went into Ryan's room, and for the next 2 hours, he just started pouring on me every burden that he's been going through right now. He had stuff with his physical health that was starting to go wrong. He had stuff with mental health from bad school. School's a hard time sometimes, and he had things with the relationships going wrong upon various other things, just lots of stuff blowing up in his life right now, and he was really being torn apart by it. So I sat and I listened to Ryan for 2 hours, just thinking about what James told me about listening and being a good friend. And so then Ryan eventually asked me, "So what's your advice here? What would I do?" So that's when I got to tell him the gospel. And I said I'd trust God with it. I'd be praying to God and be trusting him with it. And after a long discussion with Ryan about that, he said he wants to get back to his roots. He was raised up a Christian, but has kind of strayed from it in college. He said he wants to get back to his roots of being a Christian again and wants to pursue that again. So yeah, I'm very grateful that God gave me this great opportunity to go and do his will and spread his great name. Very grateful.
I'm so encouraged by stories like that. Students taking steps of faith, students meeting Jesus, students growing deeper in their walk with him. God is at work, and we get to be a part of that and join him in his labor. So, where are we headed this next year, and how can you join us? That's the question on the table. Our team focuses for this next fall into 3 major categories: evangelism, multiplying movements, and partnerships. Evangelism. We want to see every one of the 135,000 plus college students in Nebraska hear the good news of Jesus Christ. That takes training students who are currently involved with Cru, teach them how to engage in conversation, giving them the tools to do so, demonstrating it to them, showing them how to do it, and spending time with them as they go, and then releasing them to do that with their classmates, their departments, their athletic teams. Multiplying movements. We are working toward launching a movement on every single school in the state. 36 teams with leaders aligned to win, build, and send their classmates, so that every corner of every campus is reached with the light of Jesus Christ. Partnerships. We want to link arms with you all, church bodies, other Christian ministries, so that we can get to every campus and share the load together so we can see our goal reached. Raising up and funding our volunteers, our part-time staff, our interns, and full-time staff, so we can have coaching teams in places like Omaha and in Western Nebraska someday. We want you to be a part of that story. And to get to these goals, we ask you to join with us. That may look like just using your mug that you got in the mail to pray very frequently for each of those movements and for new movements to be raised up. It'll look like some of you volunteering your time to have our Bible study leaders into your homes to care for them and to prep them and help them prep for the study coming that next week. Contact us if that's you, please. It may look like some of you actually taking a part-time job with Cru and serving in your city so that the campuses in your city could have someone that's there more frequently than we can get there from Lincoln. And it'll look like many of you contributing funds to continue aiding us in this story. Would you consider giving toward one of our 3 big needs: outreaches, scholarships, and resourcing? Sharing the gospel is the bread and butter of what we do in Cru. We do that through individual conversations and through large-scale outreaches. Would you help us buy the evangelistic tools and supplies needed to make those style events possible? Things like these banners. Conferences, retreats, summer missions. The stories of life change that come as we hear students come back from those experiences is non-stop. Students coming to faith, resurrendering, recommitting their lives and time and plans to the Lord, making pledges of faithfulness. Those are the kind of things we see happen at those, and it's amazing. A gift of $1,000 would allow 16 students to go to our fall retreat for free, or 3 students to attend our winter conference for free. Can you help us relieve that obstacle so they can get there? And finally, we believe in resourcing students so that they have transferable tools that they can take and pass on for the rest of their life. You saw the leader toolkit I showed earlier. We want to continue putting these in the hands of every one of our students. A gift of $2,500 will allow us to buy 50 of those in order to put them around the state. Through whatever way you choose to join with us, thank you. We are so grateful for your partnership. May the Lord bless you. Thank you.
Now that I think about it, I really like Davey's idea of becoming part-time staff. So you could join me. I work a full-time job, but I do part-time staff alongside. And so if that's you, would love to invite you to think about that. But if not, again, just want to unashamedly invite you guys to partner with us financially. You will have received an envelope in the mail if you would like to give by check. You can do it that way. Otherwise, you can visit give.cru.org and give online through that platform. And here is a quick video that shows you a little bit more about how to do that.
Open up a web browser and type give.cru.org in the search bar. On the next page, type in Lincoln, Nebraska, and click that yellow search button. Select the University of Nebraska-Lincoln option, which is really for all of Nebraska Cru. Click the yellow Give a Gift button to enter your giving details. You can select an amount or enter your own amount in the white box. Scroll down to the gift frequency area to enter how often you'd like to give. Then indicate when your gift will start. If you choose the single gift option, then you don't need to worry about this part. If you'd like, leave us an encouraging message or even a prayer request. We would love to hear from you. Click Add to Gift Cart and then click the View Cart button to see the gift that you just set up. You're now ready to proceed to checkout, so go ahead and click that button. We'll check out as a guest here, but we encourage you to create an account so you can easily edit your giving anytime. Enter all of your info and double check to make sure it's correct. Finally, click the yellow Continue button to enter your bank or credit card information. That's it. Pretty simple, right? If you have any questions, you can reach out to Cru at the email or phone number that you see right here.
So that's how you give. If you have any more questions, please reach out to Nebraska team at cru.org. Now, I just would love to take a moment to pray together. So would you guys join me in that? Father, I pause with my friends who are gathering across the state, across the U.S., wherever they're joining us from. And I just want to thank you for creating this moment, creating this opportunity where we have this privilege and we have heard the good news and you have changed all of our lives, and all of us who are listening, we've said yes to you, to following you, to being your disciple. And now we have this great privilege of partnering with you and joining with you as we see more and more people have the opportunity to say yes and to partner with you and to know you, God. And that's what we want. We long for every single college student across the state of Nebraska and beyond to have the opportunity to know you and to come into a saving relationship with you, and that their lives would forever be changed, and that more and more and more people would also come into a relationship with you and enter from death to life. And God, we trust you. We know that you are the great provider. You've provided for all of our needs, and you will continue to provide. And so we praise you for who you are in that. And we just continue to ask, God, that you would show yourself faithful, and that you would provide for our needs with Cru, for our students' needs, for our staff's needs, for our volunteers. So again, that everybody may know you and have an opportunity to respond. And so God, we recognize that you are the giver of all good gifts, but we also ask that the gifts would never become greater than the giver, that you would continue to remain primary in all of our lives, and that you would continue to grow our love for you more and more each and every single day, that we may experience deeper intimacy with you and greater relationship with you as we continue to walk with you for the rest of our lives. So Father, thank you. We love you, but you love us so much more. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you guys again for joining us for this Vision event, and we hope you guys have a great rest of your Saturday.